good to go?
We're good to go.
Hi, I'm Rebecca.
I'm Ryan. I'm Antonio.
And I'm John.
And our game is Forward. Forward is a 2D casual RPG for the phone and or tablet. Players take control of 4 heroes that reside in vastly different worlds that must work together to fight off a galaxy-wide infestation.
Our game combines the overall layout and enemy movement of Plants vs. Zombies, equipment and stats of your typical RPGs, and our core teleportation mechanic to create a fun, fast, and engaging battle system.
Now we will quickly introduce the 4 heroes of Forward. The first one is Lapis, a siren. Her strengths include enemies with large ears, and her weaknesses include physical.
Our next hero is Norian, an elf. Her strengths include floating and flying enemies, and her weaknesses are enemies with hard exteriors.
Our third hero is Sun, a monkey king. His strengths are large tank-like enemies, and his weaknesses are water shields.
Our last hero, Joe, is a penguin knight. He's strong against finned and spiked enemies, and is weak against ground enemies.
Now all these attributes won't be introduced to the player at once, but rather little by little as levels progress. Now we will quickly guide you through a typical level of Forward. Before the core gameplay, the player sees a cutscene like this where heroes talk about their newfound strengths and weaknesses.
Once the dialogue is over, the game will start. Here we have our 4 heroes on the left side of the screen, with enemies soon coming from the right.
Briefly after that, an enemy will move towards Joe. Now, Joe said he was weak against ground enemies, so he's dealing no damage to this enemy.
The player can swipe up or down on any enemy, which will make it switch lanes. This is our core teleportation mechanic. So the player can swipe all the way to the top to teleport the enemy to the Siren's role. And the Siren said that she is strong against flaming enemies, so you can see that the Siren is now dealing critical damage to this enemy.
Enemies won't just always run towards the hero. Here we have an enemy with a shield. The penguin knight happens to deal critical damage to spiked shields, so we'll just leave the enemy at this place for now.
Once the shield is broken, however, the penguin no longer does any damage because it's a round enemy and can't do any damage to round enemies. So we have to move him up to a different lane, preferably Sun's lane, because he'll do extra damage.
So the enemies aren't the only ones with items and abilities. Each hero will have 2 abilities, and you can activate them by swiping left or right on the hero. The heroes will be able to level up, and you'll be able to distribute stats to them, and you will collect weapons for each hero that will give them new skills that they can use.
Alright, I'm going to walk you through a quick gameplay demo. Here you can see our Siren not doing any damage, so we can swap that enemy down, and then we can freeze that enemy with our elf. You can also see Sun shooting a fireball across all the enemies on the screen. Now for our prototype, all these enemies are color-coded, but in our final game, they'll be based off more interesting attributes.
For our art style and music, we aim to make a really fun and lighthearted, kind of happy environment. We're looking for 3 artists to help create 2D vector backgrounds, 3D and any artwork, character sprites, and character animations. Audio will be created by us.
So our engine will have 4 heroes with a single ability, 4 enemies with abilities, 5 levels, 3 rounds each, manually created, teleportation mechanic, autosave mechanic, skill point stat system, and a simple tutorial.
Boom!
Our stretch goals include additional levels, enemies, weapons, and abilities. We also would like to implement 2 additional modes and a randomly generated enemy system if time allows. Thank you.